Thank you for tuning in, friends. I'm Aminah, and this is a brief introduction for those of you who will see the recording of the class via YouTube or an invitation link. Today's sequence is really great for all levels, whether you're a seasoned yogi or a beginner to this practice. It is specifically for those looking to express a full lotus posture, which is one of the most powerful postures we can take in terms of seated meditation and has so many positive benefits in the body. Too many to list in this short video, to be honest, but the thought behind establishing a full lotus posture is that it requires a tremendous openness in the low back, a tremendous flexibility in all the ligaments of the hips and knees and ankles. So naturally, it's going to generate a lot of muladhara or root energy in the body. And sitting in the lotus position, which we've seen so many radiant gurus and students and children do, promotes a steadiness of the body that it is said can extend into the steadiness of the mind. So this is just some inspiration to open your mind to the possibility of full lotus being part of your practice, no matter where you are now. And I like to spend just a moment introducing Padmanasana so that you can understand I'm embedding this practice with empathy. I have had lotus in my practice before, but I don't have lotus in my practice right now. And while the reasons for that are many, the primary ones are lifestyle changes after becoming a mother and the experience of carrying a baby. So your hips change throughout your life, and therefore the postures that we can access change throughout our life too. Class hasn't started, not to worry, we're still just waiting for some students to come in, and I'm making a little statement for the recording, talking about lotus pose, which is what we're focusing on today. So we also have a lotus mudra, which we can take in our hands, which is my last little disclaimer. I don't have a full lotus in my posture, in my practice right now, but I did in the past, and I will again. And so I won't be able to master the posture that we're working towards today, which is a little bit uncomfortable as a teacher, but I like to put that out before class so that people know that you can try no matter where you're at, and that empathy is part of the practice. So I've got the Zoom meeting running, and Karen's gonna join us, and it'll make a little ding sound when she comes in, and I'll unmute you in case you have anything you wanna say. And my screen will be the only one that feeds to Facebook, but this is gonna also feed to Facebook. I'm so glad to have you back, Tiffany.
I'm glad to be back too.
It's always a little bit hard to come back to the studio or to the mat after you've been away. So give yourself extra grace and know that the hardest part is done. You have showed up.
Yeah, I got really sick.
Bummer.
I'm fine now.
Good. I'm so glad. I heard a doorbell, but maybe it was just me because I signed into Facebook. Cool. Sorry to give you a comedy of facial expressions.
I have 3 kids, I'm used to that.
Oh, yeah, that's very, very true. That's very true. Let's see, I hear some doorbells. There she is. Oh, Ruth, sweet. Sweet. Hello, Ruth, and welcome. We've still got just a couple minutes before we get started. I'll set a timer so I don't delay us. And I think I close that. We are looking ready to rock and roll. Ruth, if this is your first time practicing with me virtually, thank you for being here and enjoy this practice. It's designed for, I hope this is mine. No. It's designed for those seeking full lotus, which if you don't even know what that means, it's A-OK. A-OK. Ta-da! I'm just waiting for Karen. She registered, but I know that if she's running late, she'll catch us on Facebook. So we won't start late. We'll hold space for just one more minute. And that's awesome. Great. So, hi. Great. It's just logging in. And I want to make sure that my video stays pinned for the internet so you feel very comfortable in your homes. Good. Nice, nice, nice. So we're gonna move up and down, seated, standing a little bit today, and I apologize, I'll adjust my screen to make it really easy. We'll spend the first 5 minutes seated and then the first half of the class standing so that you know what to expect. Sweet, Karen just came in, so we are ready to rock and roll. Hey Karen, right on time. Thanks for being here.
I'm off.
Anybody have any? Gosh, you're so radiant. Yay, thanks everybody.
My hair is all wet. I was too sweaty. So
no
anyways.
worries. I just mentioned to the others, we're gonna go up and down a couple times. So I apologize for adjusting my screen and I'll bear with you as you adjust yours. Does anybody have any questions or requests before we dive in?
I want to meet who the other ones are. I'm Karen.
Hi, Tiffany.
What is your name?
Hi.
Tiffany.
Tiffany. Oh, okay. You're Tiffany. Okay.
Yeah.
Get to see you close up today.
Hi.
There's Phil.
And then we have a newcomer, Ruth. I'll just point that out too. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi.
Great.
Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
It's hard to see me because I'm outside. There we go. I decided to do it outside today.
Love it, love it. Well, I honor everybody's time. We've got an hour-long class set up for us. We might end a little early. I'm gonna mute you all so that you feel really comfortable being in your environment, checking in with your breath, and not needing to control anything that happens. I'm definitely on a learning curve with the construction going on around me, so if it's very echoey or the audio is unpleasant in any way, please don't hesitate to let me know and we'll figure it out. I too will be practicing outside when it's available. So take a comfortable seat. If you have Lotus in your practice, you could take that seat immediately. But if it's not in your practice or you're not sure what that means, have no worries. Just go ahead and have a comfortable seat, allowing your hip bones to settle into the ground, your sits bones to activate into the ground. And then start to exhale fully. And your hands can be at your knees and your laps. The thought is that we're just letting the whole body come present. And one of two things is happening here. You're in a full lotus and you're really plugged into the breath and you want to stay with that breath, connecting with it. But the other is that you're still coming present, you're still negotiating the space and filling it with intention. So I might encourage you to take a child's pose if that's more for you, just widening the knees, letting the toes touch behind you as you slide your forehead down towards the mat. And every breath here in your child's pose or seated full lotus is going to lengthen the spine so that there's a little bit of space developing between each vertebrae. Through the inhales and exhale, just lets the head, neck, shoulders, hands, hips, ankles all relax downward steadily and easily. And if you begin to tap into your breath here, that's how our practice for today began. So 3 intentional breaths. So follow your breath. And choose to stay connected to your breath throughout practice. Ideally in and out through the nose. Just taking yourself gently upright if you come into child's pose so that we meet seated. We'll take an inhale to stretch arms overhead. Exhale, elbows nice and wide. And then inhale, stretch the arms back up. So the extent to which you relax the elbows through the exhale is really determined by you. The more they come behind the body, the more therapeutic it's going to feel in the chest and arms. So stretch up one more time, big inhale. And exhale, elbows wide. And then we're just going to reach around, right elbow on top of left, reaching for opposite shoulder blades. And then lift and lower your chin once or twice here, just checking in with how the body feels, especially your neck and the tightness that you might be experiencing. Open the palms up, nice and wide, big inhale. And we'll take left arm on top of right this time, just squeezing the chest and opening the arms behind you, maybe reaching for opposite shoulder blades, maybe rolling the shoulders this time rather than opening the neck. It could even be a wiggle side to side. You're just checking in to make sure there's not any kinks or discomfort in the upper vertebrae here. So inhale, palms up nice and high. And stretch out through the middle fingers here. So we're trying to relax downward through the exhale, shoulders, elbows, hands. Relax, relax, relax. And then the inhale, stretch you out through the fingertips. So you're expanding the heart space. 2 more breaths here. With an open heart and an open mind, we approach the sacred study of yoga. So big inhale, stretch the arms overhead, let them touch, keeping your gaze forward. And then relax the shoulders and elbows downward, keeping the palms floating overhead. Notice the energy between your hands. This posture might not be available to you, and it might be more comfortable to be something like this. Either way, allow the range of motion that is acceptable for your shoulders to be here for 3 more intentional breaths. Full exhale. Totally normal to have aggravating sensations in the body, and that's part of what we're warming up at this introduction to the practice. So inhale, stretch out to the fingertips, press the palms a little more tightly together, anchor through the hips. Use the inhales to stretch up, and then exhale whenever you're ready to stay anchored through the hips and fold forward. As you fold forward, notice what's possible, notice what's going on in the mind, and notice which leg is in front of the other. In my case, it's the left, so just notice for you. If your pinky edge of the hand can come down to the mat, if your forehead can come down to the mat, stretch out and flatten a little bit more. Some of us can feel very claustrophobic here, so just stay connected to the breath and try to endure the passage of time. For just 1 more steady round, exhaling to flatten a little bit more. Inhale to push the hands together, stretch up, lengthening the spine. So much spinal strength required to take that gesture. Exhale, hands through heart center, and breathe. Nice. So if you can use your core to keep your hands at your chest and swap your opposite foot in front, go ahead and do that. It's a simple little challenge that activates the core. No worries if you need to use your hands for that. Inhale, stretch arms overhead. Once again, we're gonna relax as much as we can, actually dropping the shoulder blades away from the ears as we steady into this somewhat uncomfortable spine strengthening and lengthening shape. Drop through the jaw. Accept any symmetry or asymmetry that you might experience through the hips here. And then use the inhale, stretch up, lengthen, anchor through the hips, fold with your breath. No rush to do so. Following that lengthening outward, using your breath, steadying your breath, so that every exhale lets the face, hands, shoulders relax. Every inhale stretches you out and flat a little bit more. And as you're in this shape, just about the same amount of time as we were before, 2 more breaths, just stretching outward, flattening slightly, accepting whatever point of contact or possibility of contact is present for you. Exhale, let go of the shape. Inhale, stretch forward, pressing the hands together, lifting upright, using tremendous strength in the body. Drop the hands through the exhale, back to heart center. Tap the thumb to the sternum, tap the stone to the forehead, and let's get ready to rock and roll. Come on into a tabletop shape here. Just a couple rounds of cat-cow to warm up the spine and to balance whatever came up in the opening sequence. So exhale, round, making sure hands and wrists are in line, knees and hips are in line. Open your throat, drop your belly, inhale, cow, beautiful. So round through, exhale, cat. You're looking towards the navel and behind you. Open through the inhale, dropping your belly. Imagine the change, see the change, feel the change in the hips and tailbone as you take your third and final round of cat and cow. Really, really good. Check 10 toes onto the ground behind you. Try not to leave that pinky toe out. And then see how comfortable you are in this position. It's really normal to feel uncomfortable there. But if you can, stretch arms overhead and feel really awesome and free here to open other parts of the body besides the bottom of the foot, then go for that. We're just gonna pass almost a minute at a time here. Believe it or not, unless you have a history of broken toes, you could stay in fire toes for 10 minutes. And in some yoga teacher training programs, students are invited to experience that. So I would never endure 10 minutes here because I have had broken toes. But a minute is something worth playing with. So take at least 3 more intentional breaths, especially if this is really challenging for you. And just check into your unique shape, what is possible for your body here. This is a yoga posture in your toolkit for any anxiety you might experience. A really good thing to add once or twice throughout your day, just to make sure that the anxiety level stays really low. Go ahead and allow yourself to gently come upward, where we're gonna warm our body up for the variety of postures we're playing with today. So as you step your feet hip width apart, and just make sure you feel good and well. Notice something beautiful in your environment. And then inhale, stretch your arms overhead. Exhale, elbows come nice and wide, very similar to before. I'm just keeping a nice gentle bend in my knee. And I'm gonna inhale and exhale, energizing the breath. Maybe it's Ujjayi Pranayama, maybe you associate it with the fingertips. Whatever you're doing, it's energizing. So stay with it, 1 more round. Good, shifting the breath work entirely. I'm just gonna let the elbows rock side to side. And make sure you have good space here. Try to keep the hands in line with the elbows in line with the hands. But otherwise, allow the hand and elbow to have tremendous momentum. Try to let your hips stay forward, noticing how much is required in terms of flexibility in those ligaments right around the hip and the knees. So you can take this as fast as you want, really playing with the momentum you create, or you can stay in a much slower tempo if you prefer. As you start to work, go ahead and inhale, stretch the arms out, tap your left hand towards your right shoulder, and then swing that open hand behind you. As you exhale, touch your opposite shoulder, swing that open arm behind you. So you're always letting a hand draw you backwards, looking towards that open hand as you take this twist. Hopefully, this one feels really good for you. Keep it up, allowing yourself to go either direction. 2 more times. Hopefully accepting nice space where you are, warming up the energy around your body. Good. You're gonna let your arms drop really limp. I call this one washing machine. And again, keep your head, neck, shoulders, and hips fairly forward as you just let your arms flip-flop side to side. And just like the toe exercise, this is one that you can incorporate into your day to prevent any tension from building up. So go ahead, heel toe your feet a little closer together. Inhale, arms stretch overhead. Exhale, elbows bend nice and wide. We've taken that gesture several times. This time we're gonna add a back bend. Inhale, stretch it up. Hips come forward, elbows come wide. Inhale, stretch tall. Draw hands through heart center. Sometimes back bends can make us feel a little nauseous, a little insecure. So no worries, stretch everything up. Inhale, hips come forward. Start to look overhead. Trace the wall. See how long you can linger here. Maybe it's a breath. And then with your inhale, come right back up. Hands centering through heart center. Beautiful. Good work. So lift your right knee super duper high and then drop it back down. Shift your weight almost immediately. Lift your left leg super high. Drop it back down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Almost a forcible exhale. No worries. Good stuff. So from here, we're going to allow ourselves to balance on one foot. Left foot, bending your right knee. Reach for your right foot. Inside of the foot is going to give you the most traction. And draw the knee towards the center line. You want to feel the inner thigh squeeze. Stretch the opposite arm up here. And then kick this flexed foot into your hand, or a pointed foot is going to be better for giving this cue into this hand as you continue to square both hips forward. We're not trying to get the biggest, fullest expression of dancer. We're trying to isolate the various ways that we can pull into an expression of dancer. So use the inner thigh to draw the knees back together, lift the head, neck, chest, and shoulders. Drop your feet down, stretch everything up, and center hands through heart center. 2 exhales here. Maybe there's a visceral difference between the left and right side based on the work we've done already. Take your opposite foot behind you, bending at the knee, reaching for the inner foot. Draw the knees together. You get so much benefit staying here, so don't feel rushed to move on. Drawing the opposite arm overhead. Try to keep it close to the head. Pointing the toe behind you. Kick. Using the quadricep now. Still, the inner thigh is engaged to keep the knees towards the center of the body. Shoulders and hips squaring towards the front space. Breathe. And then exhale right back down. Squeezing the inner thigh to bring the knees together. Opening up, gentle back bend here. Hips come forward. Find that space you found before. And then inhale, drop hands through. Heart center. We've almost warmed up the whole body, but the hips need a little bit more. So take a big hip circle wherever you are. Someone feels kind of silly when they do this sometimes, but the bigger the better. And if you notice any choppiness in your circle, that means you need to do a few extra that I'm doing. When you come forward, just go ahead and shift the other direction. And have a really open mind. Just because you are able to lubricate really easily one way does not mean it will always be that way, one side to the other. So just listening with genuine openness, one side to the other. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Good. We're going to take 2 more gestures with our hips. They're similar, but they're not full circles. It's just side to side. And what you're trying to do when you feel side to side is you're just really checking in with your body. I'm hearing a mentor in my head. Touch your legs, run your hands down your legs and turn on, another part of the tissue, not just the internal stretch of the muscle, but that tactile touch of the skin. And we'll close that gesture with the same idea, forward and back. And the forward and back one, I like to use the hands, to really balance out that little compression that's happening in the low back. You don't have to do as many of those ones. And a full circle in either direction might close you out nicely on that. Stepping your left foot forward, you're going to take your right foot behind you. Top of the foot touches the mat. This might feel really good already. Others might need to kind of lean or press into the foot to get a nice stretch across the top of the foot. If that's really easy, doesn't feel like much of a stretch, you might kind of rock side to side in your hips or in your ankles to, again, lubricate the connective tissues around those joints. Step both feet together. Inhale, stretch everything up. Exhale, hips come forward, gentle back bend. And hands come through heart center. Take your left foot towards the back of you. Top of the foot touches towards the ground. And just stretching through the top of the foot. Really important ligaments to open up and protect here. So if you've got the mobility to kind of wiggle through the hip or through the knee or through the ankle, you could do that, but just steady breathing here is going to be more than enough. Super, super nice. Good, step feet back together. We're gonna step wide in your space. You're gonna wanna make sure that you've got space to stretch through this big star. So make yourself a 5-pointed star. Tapping into the breath again. 2 objectives here. One, to really stretch the vertebrae up. Second, to see how the knees feel. Don't lock them out at any point in this process, and just try to use the muscles. Imagine the muscles, that quadricep to lift the kneecap, the inner thigh to draw kneecaps towards one another, for example. So last breath, stretching out, big inhale. Exhale, let the toes track outwards, bend through the knees, and sit into this low horse pose. The first 20 seconds or so is to feel groovy here. So I'm moving, it might be contagious movement. If you want to move too, that's wonderful. You can move through the hips, you can move through the knees, you can move through the feet, right? So move in a way that feels good. 2 more breaths. You can even move kind of up and down, but that gets very strength building fast. So avoid the burn and just move with me 1 more moment. Good. Now toes are going to track outward. It doesn't mean that you have to be really hip open, but just try to anchor the whole foot. Toes track out, knees follow it, opening outward. Yeah, arms come overhead, palms touch, relax through the shoulders, jaw. Right, just breathe through the connection of the hands. We've been here before. It's 2 or 3 breaths. Maybe we haven't done it in horse pose, but we've done it seated. Right, the upper body has memory. So inhale, stretch tall through the arms, keep the bend in the knees, stay low, 1 more breath, it tingles, it burns, you're okay. You can endure, it's part of the yogic practice. So with your next inhale, press through the feet, straighten the legs, lift, and exhale, arms down, let it all go. Option to pause here in your own life and just wiggle through any movement that you might need. But we here together, we'll point our toes forward, maybe even slightly pigeon, to inhale, stretch up, and prepare for a fold from the hips, letting head, neck, and shoulders lead the way out in front of you. Lingering through that 90-degree angle before surrendering down. First opportunity to really pause and check in on how you're feeling today. And whether there's a desire to move on more quickly, whether there's a desire to feel something different in the body than you have right now. Just let it empty out through the crown of your head. Staying low, folding forward. Maybe even moving from one side to the other if the need for movement is there, right? But staying into the stillness to the extent possible. So when you're ready, inhale, halfway lift, return back to that 90-degree angle. Hands can come to the hips as you just stand upright. Point the right toe towards the skinny, tiny edge of the mat and start to open up your arms into warrior 2. So this back foot is going to roll through the pinky edge of the toe. Really important that you have that rolling downward energy. And your front knee tracks out with your toe, your fingers guide the way. Drishti, your view is over your front fingers. Breathe here. Warrior two. Wide-legged poses. Thinking again about this hip corridor, this hip area. So stretch out, breathe. In a hatha practice of our own, we might just be with this posture the whole time, or all week, or all, practice. There's so much going on. Open that knee outward, right? Press through the feet. And then when you're ready, start to straighten the leg. Exploring a different shape here. Upper body stretches over the straight leg, and then back upright. 2 more times, getting as bouncy as feels safe for you. Right? Slow moving might feel good. When you stay outstretched, go ahead and rotate the hand down towards the ankle. Stretch arms in the opposite direction. Gaze overhead. Keep rolling to the pinky edge of the grounded back foot. And 2 more breaths. Follow the breath. Initiate Ujjayi if it's in your practice. Inhale, stretch up. Reset the bend in the front leg. Then we take a similar rotation. Outside of your foot initially, stretching down behind your knee, right? Opening your gaze overhead. No need to touch the ground if it's not available to you. Inhale, stretch up. Keep the bend in the knee. Look forward, warrior two, just a breath. And then again, as we did before, this time in front of your leg, in front of your knee. Stretching down both arms, stretch opposite directions, gaze goes overhead when you feel fully expressed. Always activate through the pinky edge of the foot. Inhale, stretch the front arm up. Keep that deep bend through warrior two. Inhale, straighten both legs as you point toes forward, joining hands in prayer overhead. Exhale, lower. Super nice. Let's try it on the other side. So left toe points towards the small edge of the mat. Bend in, almost 90-degree angle here. Rolling through the pinky edge of the back foot. Open the arms out, gazes to the middle finger. Breathe in. Sustaining the breath, right? Asana is the word for putting our body into these shapes. Pranayama is the word for moving our breath mindfully. Right? These are ingredients to sustainable wellness. So be still a little longer. Breathe. Roll that pinky edge down. Track that front knee out towards the pinky edge of the front foot. Exhale. Relax the shoulders. And then when you're ready, straighten that front leg. Bouncing 2 or 3 times, depending on the tempo. Continuing that effort through the back pinky edge of the foot. Stretch forward and rotate. Hand comes down towards the leg. Stretching arms in opposite directions. Breathe. Look up. Trikonasana. So inhale, stretch directly upward. Bring the torso upright. Then reset the bend in the front leg. We'll take that similar rotation here 2 times. Behind the knee first. Exhaling. Stretching arms in opposite directions. Inhale, stretch directly up. Don't change the bend in the knee. So much strength required. Exhale, look over the front fingers. Breathe for a moment in warrior two. And then take that same rotation inside the knee this time. Opposite arms, opposite directions. Gaze comes overhead. Smile if you can. Feel really strong. You are. Roll through the pinky edge of the foot the whole time. Inhale, stretch tall. Back to warrior two. Keeping the bend in the knee. Looking forward. Inhale, gaze comes overhead, arms come overhead, legs straighten, toes point forward. Exhale, elbows wide. Good. Inhale, stretch palms up, let them touch, hinge from the hips. Stretch your fingers out. See if the pinky edge of the hand can graze the mat. Again, we were here earlier in the practice from a seated position. Use this opportunity to really stretch the pinky edge of the hand out so that you get a bit of traction stretch. Connect with your toes, especially the big toe. Notice how your attention and activity in your toes and feet change the stretch throughout the leg. And then use your core, use your strength. Inhale, stretch your fingers out, forward, and up. Big toe energy, whole foot helping you. Exhale, elbows down, hands down. Nice. Good work. Roll the shoulders back, heel toe the feet a little closer together, and say goodbye to our standing series for now. Go ahead and make yourself comfortable on the ground. There are several other postures that I might prescribe here if you were looking to continue a longer practice, like a 90-minute practice I would teach in the studio. And that would be Skandasana and just some really deep forward folds. So for anybody watching the replay, looking to remix. We're gonna come down to our seated position. Soles of the feet come together for butterfly initially. And if you have any sciatic nerve issues, IT band problems, definitely use a pillow or a blanket to lift your hip throughout the remainder of class as you need. When we come into butterfly, it's very typical for people to want to connect the soles of their feet together. And sometimes I even coach that because it is really good for the two sides of our brain. But for today's exercise, you're going to want to try to open your feet upwards to the space you see. And so if you want to physically try to like lift the pinky edge of your foot or flatten the big toe edge of your foot, that's one option. You can also just kind of massage your feet open if you're feeling more self-care about it today. And as you experience what's possible, you can try to put one foot on top of the other foot. You're starting to see the theme and how this all relates to Lotus perhaps already. So after we just let go of those exercises with the foot, we'll grab our ankles, roll our shoulders behind us, and sit very, very straight up. 2 breaths here. With an inhale, you'll look upward, opening your throat. With an exhale, you'll tuck your chin, lengthening the back of the neck. Inhale, open. Exhale, lengthen. Sorry, tuck. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tuck. Beautiful work. Draw the knees together, close them, and straighten the legs out in front of you. We'll take our right leg in, and the sole of the foot is going to press towards the inner thigh as we just stretch up and take one fold, trying ideally to get the hands towards the feet. If you can't bring it to your feet, the back of the knee or the ankle is ideal. If you feel really comfortable, you can rock the interlaced fingers over the feet, try to bend the elbows, head can come to the leg over time. So you're just taking this first forward fold, seeking flexibility. I'm flexing my foot and sparking my toes to really activate and lubricate the ligaments around my knee, protects my knee when I do that. Might look different for you in your practice. Just take one more breath here. Before leaving the shape, I want you to think about your low back, the left and right side, and then try to activate your tailbone and your hips downward to see if you can give the two sides of your back the same experience here. Anatomically, it might be impossible, but energetically, you can kind of lean through that left hip and find what I'm talking about. So tuck your chin, roll your spine upward, and we're just going to change this bent foot a little bit. We're going to place it on top of the thigh. Top of the foot comes to the thigh. Maybe you're thinking about your heel coming to your navel, right? So it's like the inside of the thigh. Either way, see how that feels for you. Notice if you can kind of try to relax the top of the foot up or the knee down. And if bounciness feels safe and comfortable, this is a really great place to apply bounciness. Good. If you're ever thinking, wow, sometimes Aminah is really vinyasa powered and other days way Hatha breath based. It's sometimes with the moon. We're in a shrinking moon today, so I think it's important we realize how much good benefit comes from kind of slower moving practices with a lot of intention. So take this working leg, top of the foot is going to come towards the mat. You're just going to slide it beside you, right? There might be a limited range of motion. So wherever you are here, just kind of accept that it's going to be okay. If you can come to sit both hips down with the foot beside you, that's ideal. You got it. Rock on. Right? So wherever you are in this variation, it's gonna be perfect. Maybe this frog foot isn't doing it for you, so the top of the foot relaxes as you point behind you. That gives you a different sensation in each of those joint points. So what's most important is that you're finding something that works for you. When you come into this, notice that you can use the inner thigh to draw the knees together, and it's actually gonna open that lower back in a different way. So play with what's going on this side. And then we try on the opportunity here for a half saddle. And I say try on because I don't want anybody to move outside of their comfort zone, although that is where we tend to grow. So place your hands behind you, fingers tracking towards the body, and just open the throat, chest, and gaze to see how you feel here. If you feel like you want to take it a little lower, just micro bend through the elbows, allowing yourself to slowly find length, right? This outstretched foot is helping me balance. So in your world, if you want to bend it and help it to keep you steady, you can do so. You can also point it, just stay very, very in control, right? So maybe you can bend your elbows and come down to your forearms. Beautiful place to be. You can recreate that breath work, opening through the inhale, closing through the exhale, if you're looking for a way to center yourself here. Ultimately though, you can come all the way down onto your shoulders, right? Just stretching upright and drawing your attention back to your knee. Pushing your knee down, drawing your knee inward, trying to flatten your hips and your heel. So much energetic work to do here. So find your breath, don't feel rushed. We are each flowers blooming where we are planted on our own time. So any variation that you have of half saddle, rock it out here for just one more breath. And then shift your weight away from that working leg as you extend it out in front of you. Notice the difference between not just the legs, but the whole side of the body. Tap, 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 tap on your legs. And let's take that work to the other side. So the left foot bends, coming towards the inner thigh. As we just stretch up, big inhale. Anchoring forward, outward, and down. Reaching for the back of the knee, for the back of the ankle, for the whole foot if it's possible for you. Forehead comes to the knee over time. Just breathing here, 3 or 4 breaths, tuning into your own unique shape. Right? No need for comparison. And those of you who might see my hands interlaced here on my feet think, wow, she's got it all. It's really not. You can go so much farther over time, right? There's always a way to enhance practice. You're never too good to learn. So as you stay here in this extended butterfly, half butterfly forward fold, try to draw your attention to your low back. Push both sides of the low back downward equally. Here's through the hip bones. Try to create a sense of balance between the two sides of your hips and low back here. Anatomically, it might be impossible, but energetically, you can really make good effort dropping through that right hip, pulling the right hip away, and down through the rest. Tuck the chin, roll the spine, come seated upward, and we'll take the working leg on top of the thigh this time. Heel can come towards the navel as you bring the top of the foot on top of the thigh. Push the knee down if it's comfy. Try to open that foot out if it's comfy. Just as before, there's an opportunity for some bounciness if it feels safe and comfortable for you. The more relaxed we are, the more flexible we are. And we can process that through a physical dimension when we just think about softening our jaw and letting our hips relax, but also a more metaphysical one, like if we have all the details, we're a little more willing to go with the flow, right? Not everybody is equally spontaneous. So just press the knee down, see what's possible for you, and then release our leg for our half saddle opportunity. So pivot through that hip and knee to drop the foot beside you. Keeping the foot flexed initially just to make sure that you feel safe. This can be really intense. If you're feeling really unsure about how to get into this shape, elevating your hips might make it more possible, like if you can't really get it beside you. So no worries, happy to coach that offline. Try to drop through the hips evenly, continuing to express your shape. So if you want to draw the sole of the foot up and really roll the foot beside you as you start to shift your weight backwards, that's great. Hands will track towards the body no matter how deep into the shape you're going. Taking your elbows, I should do it this way. Taking your elbows down initially, keeping your mind on the knee, anchoring it down, using the inner thigh whenever you need to. Staying connected to the breath so that it can guide you into the fullest expression available for you in this half saddle shape. So no matter where you are in your expression, follow the breath at least one more time. Good. And then when you come out of it, just gently sit upright, allow your weight to shift to the other side as you unravel the legs. And we will take a soft fist at the side of the hip, just tapping on each side, working gradually down the leg, avoiding the kneecap, not tapping directly on the kneecap, working your way right back up. Save that one. It's a really good one. So we're taking our right leg over our left. This is a half cow pose, half cow face pose. If you can bend the opposite leg to sit between your heels, that's the ideal. And you can just massage your feet if you don't want to take it any further than that, in case this is really tight for you. Anchor to the hips, stretch everything up to the inhale. And then with an exhale, begin to forward fold. We're going to work through this cow face pose progressively. So just getting into it was level one, way to rock on. Folding is an advanced shape that brings much more benefit, not just to the hips, but also to the digestive system. Trying to soften the jaw, the features of the face, and the hands. Nearly out of our folding minute here. Just take 2 more full rounds of breath, following the exhale, trying to let it help your hips and knees stack more effectively so that you feel yourself even just a millimeter smaller, lower, closer to the ground, more compact. Push the ground away, gently lift yourself upwards, and we're going to take it side to side. So for those of you that were happily bouncing in the various opportunities to do so today, you might move quite quickly here. But those who want to move a lot slower, those of us just waking up maybe, you'll drop the hip towards the ground, stretch the hand overhead, really move in a way that's personalized to your body, keeping that connection between the hip and the hip tip to the fingertips. One more round so that we get good lubrication side to side. Really nice work. So we're going to open our arms overhead, drop the hands through heart center, and then open the top fingers. So the pinky and the thumb stay sewn together. The sole of the hand, base of the hand is together. This is our lotus hand mudra. And if you're familiar with the lotus, it likes to grow in very muddy waters. It has roots that drop down, anchoring it. So just let that symbolism come into your life here for 3 breaths or so. It's very possible that the lower body is screaming and getting a peaceful face. It's hard, but try to create that peaceful glow. Even if you're amidst muddy waters, right? So inhale, stretch arms overhead. And gradually shift your weight behind you so that you're going to unravel the legs, windshield wipering them, or moving in whatever way you might need. Never underestimate how powerful these shapes are. They don't always feel good. So extending the legs out, just taking any therapeutic touch that you might feel intuitively inspired to take. We'll drop the left knee on top of upright. This time, opposite side of our body. And a half shoelace will do, especially if you're new to this, if this isn't available for you. But draw the bottom leg in for a full shoelace. Rock arm, you've got it. Stretching arms overhead, big inhale. Exhale, elbows wide. Nice. Hands stretch overhead and through heart center. Or again, just coming into this shape is really challenging. So give yourself credit for doing something that might not be easy and reaping the benefits thanks to your discipline. Anchor through the hips, use your breath to fold where we have 1 minute, creating a positive compression on the digestive system. Staying anchored through both hips. Allowing every exhale to help you stack the joints a little more effectively, melting a little bit flatter towards the mat, towards the knee, towards the earth. Nearly out of that minute, push the ground away, lift the vertebrae upwards, stretch overhead, and take it side to side. Again, honoring the tempo that serves you, dropping the hip away, allowing this to be as bouncy and movement-oriented or as slow moving as you need. Right? Creating that connection from the hip to the fingertips, one straight line, 3 full rounds, really, really good work. Shift the weight behind you, let the legs come out, unravel, and accept that we are fully prepared for the peak asana, the preparation for lotus pose. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your right foot and you're gonna place it in your left elbow, right? And this bottom foot can be straight out, it can be bent, it really doesn't matter at the moment. So if you can get your sole of the foot to just stamp that bicep, the inside of the bicep, that's ideal. You're gonna wrap the other arm around your knee, interlace all 10 fingers, and then sit up straight, right? Lengthening through the spine. Initially, you just wanna draw everything really, really close to you and try to visualize the hamstrings and other muscles of the legs that you might be feeling. Again, stay upright the whole time. Try to shift your hips forward a little bit so that you're really anchored and sitting straight upright. Now we're going to try to draw the foot up towards the shoulder, right? Notice, visualizing how it changes the muscles of the legs. So play with this range of motion here from the kind of side body to the shoulder. 2 or 3 times, really pressing the foot into the shoulder to get this stretch. My shoulder's almost getting a stretch here, right? And depending on what your lower leg is doing, you might just see if you have the same amount of confidence depending on how it is situated or if you feel more comfortable with it situated one way. Nice. The second exercise we're going to take is to squeeze everything close, to lift everything up, to hold the chest upright, right? And then just to rock side to side. Thinking about that same freedom we had at the start of class, standing on our feet, really letting the elbows have momentum, right? Go for it. You might even let your gaze go side to side. I get a little dizzy when I do that. We don't want to think about our hips, really side to side, rocking the baby. Right, inhale, lift up, find that integrity upright, and then fold forward. Inhale, find that integrity upright, fold forward. We're gonna repeat it 2 more times. This one starts to activate a little more strength. You can feel the abdominals and the low back helping to keep you balanced. It might feel different with the leg outstretched too. So always be open to the opposite leg being a support to you. We're gonna combine all of those shapes. So rocking and rolling, right? And what you're seeking in this weird shape is your own personal limitation. So if you, just like when you press the hips in a circle, right? Some of us have that fluid circle, we feel it. Others have more of an ellipsis. And some of us have kind of a chunkiness because there's parts of the body that need to realign, that need some juice and love and attention and relief. So take that organic shape In the other direction, if you're feeling a little tired and worn out, don't feel alone, it's all good. We've arrived to the last gesture on this leg. Take your foot in your hands this time, and just press it to your chest, towards your navel, see what's available here. Press it towards your forehead, towards your face, see what's available there. Right, and imagine, only in your imagination, that your foot is gonna come over your head like a headband. Right, just imagining that is really important. Allowing your foot to come down. Oh my, I'm frozen in such a silly posture. That's awesome. So let your foot, top of your foot, come down on top of your thigh. When you release, you are now in a half lotus shape. So if your leg is out extended, your knee might not touch the ground yet. If your foot is tucked underneath you, it might not touch the ground yet. So just notice all these little variations that I've demonstrated to find one that's perfect for you. Over time, letting the knee touch the ground. There you have a half lotus shape. Let's bring it to the other side. Extending legs out. Taking our left foot into our right elbow crease. Reaching the arms around, interlacing all 10 fingers. Right, to sit upright, to draw everything really close. To start to visualize the legs. It takes a little more attention, a little more endurance to do the second side because we know what's coming. So try not to rush it. Sit upright, draw everything close. Breathe. It takes time to be in these uncomfortable positions, but they're really very rewarding. So draw the foot towards the shoulder. Try to get the shin a little more parallel to the ground as you continue to lift the chest and sit upright. Playing with this opposite leg as you need. Right, now we're gonna lift the chest, lift the foot, lift everything towards the center point and bow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Nice inhale. And exhale. Good. Sitting upright, lifting that foot nice and high. You're just gonna rock side to side, side to side. And that's a little less free because we did the full first, so forgive me for that. But rock side to side, trying to get that freedom in your hip. So that we can now combine those gestures, rocking and bowing in each direction. This is the most important part. If there was just one part you were going to dwell with for an amount of time in the future, this should be it, just finding this unique shape that is yours. Sitting upright, draw your foot into your hands, tap your foot towards your navel, towards your chest, towards your forehead. Imagining over time that the foot is going to go over the head like a headband, right? Just even imagining it, washing that space with your hand. It's possible with effort. So when you feel complete on this side, let the top of the foot come to the thigh as you turn your foot upright and enjoy your half lotus pose. So the last few minutes that we've spent hugging and loving our legs, if you were to repeat those gestures every single day, you will have full lotus in a matter of weeks, maximum months, and that's encouragement for all of us. So now that we've found half lotus on both sides, we're just going to give our body an opportunity to find a full lotus. So what that full lotus would look like is lifting your feet on top, right? That's a full lotus pose. And just because it's available on one side does not mean that it is available on the other. And the number one principle in yoga is not to force, right? So if you really feel like, oh, don't, let it go. It's not for today. I can confidently say that I wasn't able to fully express this morning, so I'm a testimonial of how effective this stuff can be. We're going to place the feet down onto the mat, roll the low back behind you, letting your shoulders get a bit of traction stretch here before you come all the way down on the mat. So it's almost like a cat shape in your low back. Start to roll down. Keep the knees bent initially. Head, neck, and shoulders come onto the mat. Step the feet wider than the hips. Both knees drop to the right. You look to the left. Full exhale. Inhale, bring the knees to the center. Look through the center. And then exhale, drop the knees to the left. You look to the right. Breathe. So use your breath. Swimming through this gentle twist. We're going to be here for a minute in lieu of a full static twist. So if you want to move the feet a little wider, if you want to move the arms into a different shape, get as groovy as you need to for this closing shape. Time gets away from me when I play with Lotus, so I value your punctuality and won't keep us late. Just slowly letting that low back relax and twist out of practice. Anchor the feet, bring them hip distance, press through the feet. As you roll the shoulders behind you, lifting the hips into the air, opening after so much compression. Exhale, lower. Good. Soles of the feet come together, hands come to your hips. 3 deep breaths here. Option to keep your feet in butterfly through the remainder of our closing meditation, or to close them like a book and extend them out into a position that may be more comfortable for you. Shift your left hand to your navel and your right hand to your heart, noticing the belly inflate with your inhale. And deflate with your exhale. Gradually drawing your attention to your heartbeat, whether you can feel it. Starting to feel it. Sliding both hands on top of the heart, or if you feel more comfortable covering your eyes or just extending palms overhead. Stay connected to the heartbeat. And just like the opening poses, you're either dropping into a state of relaxation or noticing whatever barriers are present in your mind or body to that state of relaxation. So remind yourself that you can return to states of relaxation on command as desired by using your breath. And begin to use your breath here to shift into a state of completion for today's practice. Gradually bringing a larger inhale to stretch your awareness to your extremities, tiny movements in your fingers and toes. That full body stretch can roll you onto one side or all the way onto your belly. This face down Shavasana can be a really therapeutic place to visit. So if you want to close your practice here today, that's totally fine. Use your next few breaths to close your practice in your own way, returning to any intention that might have brought you to the mat this morning. And then we'll close practice together, finding our way seated upright. No rush to do so. Coming to a comfortable seat, we'll lengthen our spine. Drawing arms overhead with an inhale. Elbows come wide one more time. Thinking about your heart like a lotus flower, just letting it bloom this springtime. Stretch arms overhead with an inhale, looking forward, trusting what we cannot see. We'll exhale, drop hands through heart center, deciding where you'd like to keep your hands for one round of Om. A-O-M, a sound that we will fuel with our inhale now. We practice yoga to unify consciousness in the heart. When we live heart-centered lives, we tend to live longer and more comfortably. I wish your heart ease and patience and resilience as we have the rest of our Wednesday. Namaste.
Namaste.
Wow, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My
Sweet.
waterfall